can see your pile of clothes over here, so, you know, whatever. No, I can see Gina's pile of clothes. She's concerned about such things.
How many of those clothes are yours?
All of them, most of them.
So they're not her pile of clothes, are they?
Well, I do the dishes. She does the laundry, unless she does the dishes, but I never do the laundry. But anyway, I need to, let's just close that. Let's be sure that's not there. Yep, it's all good. On this stupid Coke bottle. This right here, y'all can't see it. No, this is the pool, and it's a Coke bottle, and it actually has what I believe may be real Coke in it, which I didn't realize for years. Anyway, try to keep it out of the frame. All right, there's my bright, shiny head. Howdy, whoever you are. Glad you're here. Glad you guys are here. But not too many of us tonight, huh? It's all good. Oh, got a Facebook message. Got to check that. It's me starting a video. What do you know about that?
Kenny's here too, so there's two of us.
You know, I wondered why y'all didn't share a, share a thing.
From her chair, she can only listen, not see.
Oh, yeah. I got you. Maybe time to move her chair. All right, I got serious. It's double XP weekend. I got serious Call of Duty to work to do, and I don't think this is going to take very long. But I do want to talk to you about what the news media is certainly, though I'm not watching it, all excited about, and that is the increasing numbers across states that have reopened, and it's true. The data points it out. We have had historic high COVID-19 numbers over the last, week and a half, 2 weeks since Memorial Day. And the numbers are still statistically not anything to worry about. Are people dying? Yeah. Let me pull my spreadsheet up so I know of which I am talking about. All right, the average, I can't get a new daily fatality. They just don't offer me that data. They don't tell me who died yesterday or died today or whatever. But the average is 28. 28 people a day have died from COVID-19 or coronavirus or Rona, whatever you want to call it. Since it's been 70 days. I've tracked data for 70 days, which statistically is not a lot of days. Do I, Mike?
Statewide or nationwide?
This is Texas. I don't care about the United States. This is where I live. I think these are the numbers I need to be looking at because, Texas is a unique place. It has desert, it has forest, it has mountains. It has a few big cities. New York leads the nation in deaths and in cases because it's a big city. People live, if you live in an apartment, there are 100 people who live on top and below you. So you live with thousands of people. So I'm just tracking Texas data. I could track nationwide, but I don't know if that would be very meaningful. So 28 people have died every day since I think it's April 1st is when Gina and I decided to get data. I don't know. I just handed her the data and said, just read me off numbers. And she did so dutifully. And anyway, so the average is going up and 28 people a day dying. If you compare that to traffic fatalities, domestic violence fatalities, if you compare that to a lot of different things, there's a lot of things we should be worrying about a lot more than coronavirus. I'm just saying, that's just the way it should be. But, if we stop driving cars, a lot of people stop dying. That's just all there's to it. All right. So I'm not all that impressed by, and I hate it for the 28 people who did die. I really do. But we've had 3 in our county die. I was kind of surprised to see that. I am able to get county by county data, and there have been 3 people in Henderson County pass away from the coronavirus. I was surprised at that because I hadn't heard about it. I thought the first death in Henderson County would be a big deal. Maybe I just forgot about it. I don't know. But 3 people in our millions of Henderson County residents is not all that statistically significant. But the numbers are going up, and the news media are going to grab a hold. So we went up 500, about 50, but it's about 60% more this week than it was last week. So the percentage is significant, but the actual numbers are not. So I'm still not real concerned, but yeah, for people like Robert, is he still there? And I want you to take care of yourself with masks and hand sanitizer. You know, Gina and I did we go out today, hon? We went to a baseball game. We watched our grandson play baseball, and it was like normal. Absolutely normal. Hey, text Jonathan and see how they're doing. They're probably done by now. I haven't heard.
Numbers show the increased number of testing now?
No, and you don't know if the numbers are skewed by more tests. I would assume that by this time, Mike, we have kind of saturated the testing. That testing is probably it's available to everybody. So if anybody needs a test or wants a test, I understand if you don't have symptoms, they're very reluctant to test you. But yeah, it may be the increased availability of this fast test that has skewed the numbers up. I have a feeling it is the fact that we are not social distancing like we did. We're going to church, we're going to baseball games, we're going to the store, we're going to restaurants. I ate in a restaurant for the first time this week. That was an interesting experience. No salt and pepper on the table, no ketchup packets. They bring you everything. Yeah, it was just a little different. We tried to eat at an Asian buffet place just to see what that was like. I'm probably going to Gun Barrel to the China Cafe and see what that's like. Because number one,
first to tell me.
Do what?
You go first and tell me.
I'll be happy to lead the way. I like to lead the way. Number one, because that poor business needs us. They've been working hard to build that business, and this may have just about buried them. We went to Athens, our favorite one in Athens, because that's where the baseball game was, and they were closed. Turns out they were on vacation. I thought it had buried them, but they're on vacation. So if they can afford to go on vacation, good for them. That's amazing. But anyway, so that's kind of my COVID report today. I'm about to post on our Harbor Church page what our plan is. I do plan to meet in the sanctuary Wednesday night, streaming with my laptop. And I plan to, if y'all want to come, because there's 6 or 7 of us. We can social distance. It's not a problem. The air conditioner's on. It's been on for a couple weeks, and there's no reason not to. So I plan to do that. If my laptop doesn't work because of Wi-Fi, then I'll let Barry do it from his setup. We'll find a camera or something to make that happen, and we'll do it that way. But anyway, I'm going to try to do it with my laptop so it's just me. And it's so simple. It's just so easy to do this YouTube live stream. I have a feeling, though, that the decreased bandwidth at the church, our internet net's terrible there. Thank you, CenturyLink, for caring so much about our bandwidth. But anyway, especially during this COVID-19. Anyway, I doubt if they're guilty about that at all. But anyway, I doubt if it may not be possible for my laptop. So if Jenny comes with her phone, she can set up a hotspot and I can get on it with my laptop and we can do it that way. So yeah, I see a thumb. I like that thumb. It's hard for me to do. I got to do thumbs this way anyway. So anyway, that's the plan this week going forward. I plan to continue that. There will not be any children's programs on Wednesday night. So if you have kids, you may have to stay home with them and just stream. You may want to bring them and make them sit in a pew. I'll be as entertaining and short as possible. But yeah, it's not going to be very entertaining for kids. But anyway, they're welcome to be there. If y'all sit as a family in a pew, that's fine. We'll just disinfect that pew when y'all are done. So that's the plan going forward. And hopefully I won't forget about it, because Wednesday is hard to remember. It's Saturday. I remembered today. It was all good. But anyway, we are in Matthew, and I've closed my book, maybe. Hey, did Amy complain about books last week? We had Sunday school books out. Did anybody pick one up? Oh, Gina tells me she forgot to put them out. Well, that's our fault then. But anyway, we'll have them out. Anyway, we're in Mark. Did I say Matthew? Mark chapter 5, verse 30. No. Allergies. It's just allergies. It's fine. And y'all, this hand will harm no one. Thank you. Mark chapter 5, verse 25. We're going to look at two different stories. I found this interesting. I haven't found the real tie-in yet, why they did this way. Maybe I'm an idiot. I don't know. But so far, I haven't figured it out. But anyway, I'm just going to do it the way it's written down. We've got the woman with the issue of blood, and then we have the little girl that Jesus resurrects. And the title is, y'all don't have it, Jesus heals a woman and raises a girl. Okay? Yeah, he did both of those things. He healed a woman and he raised a girl. I would have separated these out. I don't see, maybe I'll see the tie-in before this is over with. I thought a lot about it and tried to figure it out. I read some stuff and I don't know. I'm not going to say what I need to say next, but anyway, so we're going to look at this, and you may be familiar with these stories. Jesus heals a woman who is a marginalized person in her culture. This is relevant to today, big time relevant to today. The little girl he raises is the daughter of the synagogue ruler, who is a privileged person in his time. Now, these writers are not prophets as far as I know. They may be. I don't want to make too much of that. But the synagogue ruler is a prestigious place and person, and his daughter dying would be I'm not sure what's going on here. His daughter dying would be a community event, and the woman with the issue of blood would be something that would be off everybody's radar. Everybody long since quit caring about that woman. She was somebody that was unclean. She was ceremonially unclean. She could not go to worship. And so they'd be off her. The only thing, if they saw her, that's the woman with the issue of blood, stay away from her. So we're going to try to meld this together and try not to put too much of what's going on in our society today. But we really need to be paying attention to a couple of things. One is a lot of what's going on in our culture right now is hyped. It's trumped up. It's meant to sell us soap and cereal and pizza, okay? News media needs sensational things, and they're going to the most sensational stuff. I put on my Facebook page, probably all of you saw it because, it seemed like it got some traction. But so we need to pause and read Lord of the Flies. And it's kind of what's going on. We got some anarchy going on in America. It'll take care of itself. The anarchists will get tired and hungry and kill each other. I mean, it'll take care of itself. But we also have, I guess, I'm not watching the news still. I haven't seen news in a couple of weeks. Just not watching. Now, I am watching people who watch the news and hear what they say about it, which is probably the worst way to get news. I'm not Facebooking my news, but it seems that there are some cities that are defunding their police departments. I already police myself. I know it's going to take them 10, 15, 20 minutes to get to my house. I'm ready to take care of business if I need to take care of business, whether it's CPR or a bandit. I have trained. I'm ready. Hope I'm ready. And, when they get here, hopefully they'll be able to figure out what I've done. I don't know. But this is about to happen in some cities. I'm curious to see what happens. All of that is meant by Satan to pull the wool over our eyes and say, You as human beings who are different colors can't get along. And the fact of the matter is human beings have the ability to get along. We have the ability to work together, and we're doing it every single day. And that's all I'm going to say about that. We are humans on a planet that God made. He made black people. He made purple people. And well, did he make purple people? He made purple babies, but I don't think he meant that. He made red, yellow, black, and white. They are precious in his sight. And I think we have to add brown because the poor Mexicans got left out. Okay. He loves them too. And I got brothers and all of that. Fact of the matter is that all races looted, all races rioted, all races protested, all races were outraged, all races hurt real bad right now. We may be more unified than we think, okay? And I'll get ripped for that, but rip me, I don't care. I'll take it. I'm probably wrong. I'm probably inept. I'm probably not seeing everything because I see things from my perspective. And if I can get another perspective, I will. I've tried real hard. I've gone a lot of places, been to the Muslims, been to Puerto Rico, been to Mexico. I've been to a lot of places and got a lot of perspective that a lot of people don't have. And we are humans on the same blue ball, and we can work together. I've seen it many, many times. So anyway, we do need to be paying attention, though, to where people feel like they're not understood, or maybe people aren't actually understood. People feel like they're being singled out, and maybe sometimes people are being singled out. And we need to be quick to justice when justice needs to be done. And but you know, I am just as outraged by the riots and the police murders as I am about the police brutality. I'm outraged by both, and they both need to be condemned. They both need to have justice and righteousness served, and they will. God will make sure that happens. May not happen this side, but it'll happen the next side. I promise, because he is just, and he does not forget, and he sees all. All right, so we've got this woman with this issue of blood, all right? Let me preface this by saying, in the law, a woman on her period, cycling, I don't know, Mary Jane, whatever you call it. I had some girls in my high school call it when Virginia came to visit. I don't know. Never had one. Don't know anything about that. Gina hasn't had them in so long that I don't know anything about that. But anyway, during that period of time, she was unclean and could not go to the synagogue, could not go to the temple, could not participate in worship. So when a woman had an issue where she cycled all the time, and I'm guessing that's what this is, she had an issue of blood, and probably it had something to do with her menstrual cycle. It may have been something totally different. Maybe she had nosebleeds. I don't know, but probably had something to do with her lady parts. She was unclean all the time, and her stuff didn't work right. So she was cast out. She could not go to the synagogue to worship. She could not participate in the festivals, the feasts. She could not participate in Judaism. This was probably from her early teenage years to however old she is now. And she gets healed from it, which is kind of interesting. All right. So let's look at, this is Mark chapter 5, verse 25. I'm going to read 25 through 29. That is point 1. All right. And there was a woman who had a discharge of blood for 12 years and who had suffered much under many physicians and had spent all that she had and was no better, but rather grew worse. She had heard the reports about Jesus and came up behind him in the crowd and touched his garment. For she said, if I touch even his garments, I will be made well. And immediately the flow of blood dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of her disease. This is a very unique and interesting miracle. It's unique because of who is healed, and it's unique about how she was healed And it's really unique about what Jesus' participation was in it. I need to take a break. Hey, sweetie, could you bring me a Kleenex? Allergies are getting me right now. I'm sorry. Got to blow my nose or at least wipe it, or you're going to see. Yeah, it's going to be right there. You can't see it. It's not high enough. This is definitely not high enough definition. I don't have to shave or even wear a shirt for this definition. Y'all wouldn't even be able to tell because I'm basically wearing a sweater underneath here. Thank you, sweetheart. The allergy situation is real. It's funny. I used to wonder before coronavirus whether I had allergies or whether I had the flu. Now I always know it's allergies. I always know. It's never a shadow of a doubt. Man, we've lost everybody, haven't we? Who's the big black screen here?
Not me.
I don't know who it is either. Wow, I bored them away. But the YouTubers,
I'm here.
You're there. The YouTubers are hanging with us. All right. Very unique situation. And there's some of it I need to say, but based on this first point, we find out this is a woman who is unclean, has been unclean for 12 solid years. For 12 years, she's been unable to go to the synagogue. She's been unable to go to the temple. She's been unable to participate in any kind of feast or any kind of festival. She has lost her worship. Kind of like people in America during coronavirus. Last part of March, April, a little bit of May. We had our worship taken away from us. And it probably affected me more than you, maybe not, but I hated it. I really did. This woman had this for 12 years. Can you imagine if we were on lockdown for the next 12 years? Mike would work too hard and the rest of us would gain 500 pounds if we could afford to do so. Yeah. It's been interesting. People are starting to look back now in the first part of this year and they're going, what in the heck have we been going through? What is going on with this thing? So she's been dealing with this for 12 years. And there are people in our communities, there are people in our church, people around us, people in our families. They're dealing with stuff for years and years and years. And sometimes we get used to that. Gina has migraines. And the first 2 or 3 migraines she had, I thought it was, I was all in, emotionally attached to that, thought it was terrible. What can I do? Did everything I could do. And when I say everything, I mean everything. I've done everything I can physically do as a human male to help her with her migraines. Everything, including a lot of stuff that you wouldn't appreciate because my wife hurts and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help her. But as time goes on, she had a migraine today at the baseball game. I'm going, okay, she got a migraine. Yeah, well, whatever. She had one yesterday or she had one the day before. She got over that one. She'll get over this one. Now, the few migraines I've had maybe 6 in my lifetime, probably not that many. And, they're terrible headaches. I mean, anything that makes me throw up, that's a bad day. Okay. Now she doesn't often do that, but when I get a migraine, I always puke. That's how I know it is a migraine because I don't puke much. I'm not a puker, but man, I've had one not too long ago and it's a bad day. It really is. And so we get emotionally distracted and detached from someone else's suffering. And she's kind of right there. She's just been gone for 12 years. Everybody in her family says, oh, she bled yesterday. She's going to bleed today. She can bleed tomorrow. She's going to be okay. All right. But at the same time, she is unclean and she's in a position where she's detached from her community. All right. She is a shunned, discriminated against person. And that's the part of who we are. I mean, I'm not going to assume that everybody who's looking at me on YouTube is, not discriminated against in some way. I don't know if being bald gets me discriminated against. I don't know. Any discrimination I get from being bald is just fine because, I don't know. I don't need anybody to dance with me at the party. I got Gina. She has to dance with me. We're married. Okay. I don't know. being my age, being my color, anything, any negative that's brought to me, I don't. It just doesn't seem to be an issue for me. I don't care about it. I have been discriminated against for various things, but it's been so slight that I hardly remember it. But there are people in our community who maybe have been turned away from things or told things or missed opportunities that we may have understood, received, enjoyed. And we need to stop and listen to them. This woman is one of those. And again, Jesus makes the hero of the story the marginalized, discriminated person. I think we need to hear that message. Jesus wants the least of these to be the heroes of the story, not the smart, the privileged, the whatever, to be the heroes of the story. He never makes the rich. He never makes, he just doesn't. He makes the hero of the story the person that is most troubled. And this is an interesting story, a very interesting story. All right. So kind of in this first, this is a two-part play and then a one-part play, or a two-act play and then a one-act play. So in the first act of the first play, we've got a woman who has a problem that everybody in the community doesn't want to have. She can't have children. She can't, there's a lot of things she can't do. She can't go to worship. She can't go to synagogue. She can't do the festivals and the feasts. And she says to herself, if I touch the hem of his garment, I will be made well. And immediately the flow of blood dried up and she felt in her body that she was healed of the disease. In her own mind, she had a solution. In her own heart, she had a solution. She made a plan, she worked the plan, and then it worked. Now, I don't think that will work for all of us, because I've made some decisions in my own heart that didn't work out. I've made some decisions in my own head that didn't work out. But for some reason, God gave her this gift, says, here's your faith. You do this, it's going to be fine. And she was healed. Let's go to the second part. Mark chapter 5, verse 30 and 34. And Jesus, perceiving in himself that power had gone out from him, immediately turned about in the crowd and said, who touched my garments? And his disciples said to him, you see the crowd pressing around you and you say, who touched me? And he looked around to see who had done it. But the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came in fear and trembling and fell down before him and told him the whole truth. And he said to her, daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your disease. Daughter. As far as I know, Jesus did not impregnate anybody and have any children. As far as I know, it was not common practice in Jewish culture to say brother, sister, son, daughter. Women were marginalized as well, persecuted in some ways. Daughter. I don't know if you have this ability, but I kind of do. I have the ability to just let people crawl into my heart, curl up and take naps, be a part of my family. Jesus seemed to have that ability as well. All right. She's this shunned person, but here's what I find interesting about this. And this is unique. Jesus didn't know who he healed. He didn't plan to heal this lady. He was kind of out of the loop. Jesus Christ, Son of God, King of the universe, was out of the loop on this one. Wow. He is the vessel of blessing, and he doesn't even know it's about to happen. Jesus did not choose to heal this woman. I think this should tell us something about our prayer life. Sometimes God gives us a solution. We pray, And the powers that be just participate because they're part of the solution too. I'm going to study this a little more. This is something I learned just studying this lesson. I had never thought of this before, that Jesus was out of the loop on this healing. What in the world? Jesus did not choose to heal this woman. She had a plan. She worked the plan. She touched his garment and she is healed. I don't know how to apply that to my everyday, but I wish I could. But anyway, he didn't choose to do this to her. And yet here she is, healed. And when he figures it out, who she is and how honest she is, he said, go in peace, be healed of your disease. Your faith has healed you. Should we pray? Yes. Should we believe? Yes. Should we be fully engaged in the plan of God and not our own plan? Yes. But sometimes God gives us that, and there it is. And it's just our faith. I'm not going to say it's not Jesus, because Jesus was involved in this thing. Absolutely. It took Jesus to do this. He had to be the conduit of the power. But he is our conduit of the power. He's available to us. He's right here with us. So the name it, claim it guys will tell you that, yeah, all you need is faith. And if you have enough faith, you'll get it done. If things are going bad in your life and you don't have enough faith, I'm not going to teach you that. But this story is kind of like that. Does it sometimes work that way? Sometimes it does. I have faith of the mustard seed that will move mountains, and mountains are in fact moved. But what is your faith in? Your faith is not in your ability to get something to happen. Your faith is in God's ability to give you something. So that's what she had. So at least two things I want you to understand from this is, first of all, the people in our culture and society that are marginalized, hated, not trusted, whatever, God cares about them deeply, and he'll do things for them that are beyond us. And also, our faith is necessary for these things to take place. All right. And then the next part is different. All right. This is a different story. These are two different stories. As far as I can tell, unrelated stories. Maybe the relatedness will come to me as I teach this. I hope it does, but I'm not sure why they put these together. They didn't tell me why they put them together, so, whatever. While he was speaking, this is Mark 5, 35 through 36 and 39 through 42. While he was still speaking, there came the ruler's house. Let me start that over. While he was speaking, there came from the ruler's house some who said, your daughter is dead. Why trouble the teacher any further? But overhearing what they said, Jesus said to the ruler of the synagogue, do not fear, only believe. All right. So again, the ruler of the synagogue, he's an important person in the community. He's the most important person in the community. And his daughter is sick. So he's come to Jesus to try to get Jesus to come and heal his daughter. People from the house come. She's died. They want him to know. And by the way, ancient peoples knew when people were dead. It wasn't like some big mystery. We don't need EKGs and stethoscopes and all this different stuff to figure out, whether somebody has died or not. It's pretty obvious when people die. If you don't breathe for 4 minutes, you're dead. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You'll die. If you can hold your breath for more than some people can hold their breath for more than 4 minutes. I've held my breath for over 5 minutes before, but you have to hyperventilate to do it. So you have to have oxygen in your system. Don't ask me how I did that. I'll tell you. But anyway, it's not for this place. But it can be done, but not on a bed, not sleeping, not sick. This girl was dead. And they come, don't bother him. And then Jesus takes it as an opportunity for faith and teaching. And maybe this is the connection that I should have gotten earlier. All right. This woman, issue of blood, it's an opportunity to teach us that your faith, your plan given to you by God will work. You just have to work it out whether Jesus is in on it or not. And then we have this synagogue ruler who comes to Jesus, and the people come and say she's dead. And this is what happened. All right. They left out the part where Jesus decides to go to the house. Okay. So synagogue ruler's there. Jesus, can you help me? Oh, my daughter's dead. Jesus says, I'm going to your house. And when he had entered, he said to them, why are you making a commotion and weeping? The child is not dead, but sleeping. And they laughed at him. But he put them all outside and took the child's father and mother and those who were with him and went in where the child was. Taking her by the hand, he said to her, Talitha Kumi, which means, little girl, I say to you, arise. And immediately the girl got up and began walking, for she was 12 years of age, and they were immediately overcome with amazement. All right, here's the question I have. Why her and not anybody else? There are probably going to be people who say, I got coronavirus and Jesus healed me. I'm sure these stories are going to come out. There are also people who got coronavirus and died. People my age, people younger than me, maybe even people in their 20s and teens who got coronavirus and died. Why Jesus heals this girl and no one else? I don't know. I don't know how old I was. I think it was the very first plane crash that ever happened in DFW Airport. And there was one person survived that plane crash. It was a 4 or 5 year old little girl. They just found her amongst the wreckage, sitting down, crying. She's the only person to survive the plane crash. And I thought to myself, you need to look that girl up later. And I do. I need to look that girl up. What has she become? What has happened to her? What is the deal? At the time, I thought, well, God must have a special plan for her. But I don't know that that's true. I don't know. I have to assume that there was a purpose for her surviving that plane crash when no one else did. I remember, it seems like it was a Braniff airliner. It was a downburst, and it was just a freak accident, and they were taking off or landing, and they got pushed to the ground, and one kid survived the whole thing. Hundreds of people died. Why this girl? I don't know. There must have been a reason for it. It's not recorded for us in the Bible why she survived, but it's kind of like the whole disaster relief thing where I go to a neighborhood and the entire neighborhood's flattened and there's one house that survives. One house is untouched. Their whirligig out in the yard did not get blown over. Their mailbox did not get touched. They didn't lose a shingle on their house. And they go, wow, God spared me, but everybody else in the neighborhood, God did not spare. I do not have an answer for that question. Why? I don't. I don't have an answer for this question. But here's where I know the lesson is. When God does something, it is true, it is righteous, and it is just every single time. And we have but to trust in that. Does it help our teenagers to believe? No, it doesn't help them. Does it help us? It probably should. Should we question it? We can question it. It's fine. But when all things are gathered together and all things are made right, we will know why these things happen. So God heals a woman who is not able to enter the synagogue. God heals the daughter of the synagogue ruler. God is able to do whatever, whenever we need him to do things. So what does it mean when we think he hasn't done something for us? It means that we're still being molded and made into the image of Jesus Christ. Pretty sure Leonardo da Vinci said this, probably not Leonardo DiCaprio, but da Vinci. whoever, sculpted, he said, all I do is remove the marble that is not the sculpture. Seems like I should be able to sculpt now, huh? What do you think, Mike? Can you sculpt now?
Nope.
All we got to do is take away the rock that's not the sculpture.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems easy enough, but it's not. And so God is doing that in our lives. And sometimes that's painful. It hurts us to have things removed from us. Sometimes those things are people. Sometimes they're habits. Sometimes they're things we like. Sometimes they're things we don't like. But God is doing those things in our lives. So we have but to trust him to do that. God will work miracles in our life. Sometimes it's within our understanding. Sometimes it's not within our understanding. And sometimes it's not even within the understanding of Jesus. She touched his cloak and boom, power left him. Without his knowledge. That's the thing that's catching me right now. I've thought about this a lot this afternoon. Holy cow, Jesus did not choose to heal this woman. She chose for him to heal him. And maybe that'll work for some of us. I don't know. But here's the big thing is we shouldn't be afraid to ask. The synagogue ruler was not afraid to come to Jesus and say, my daughter's hurting. Can you come help her? The woman with the issue of blood was hurting, and she wasn't afraid to reach out and grab his garment. She just did it. What's the worst that can happen? We just try. We just reach out. Maybe we get the blessing. Maybe we learn another lesson. But whatever, we need to trust Jesus. All right, do y'all have any questions? I don't know who's out there. I got one person who wrote along the whole time. So, if you got a question, type it in. What do you think, Mike? I think it's Robert. You got any questions about that?
I don't have a question, but I have a prayer request and a statement.
Okay.
Statement. You were talking about how Da Vinci said, you remove the rock and what's left in sculpture.
Yeah.
Sometimes God removes things from our lives, such as a habit.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remove this habit.
We'll pray for you. I hear it's hard.
And I have fluid on my lungs that I'd like to pray for.
Oh, you need to get rid of that habit. Mike.
That's the reason for getting rid of this.
Mike, nicotine is really a terrible addiction, and probably the best way I've only kicked caffeine, and I do it by just tapering off,
That's what I'm doing.
Tapering off.
Instead of keeping them by my chair, they're across the room. So if I want a cigarette, I have to get my lazy butt up and walk over there and get one.
Well, you might keep track, just keep a pad. I had one, and just be sure that number is fewer and fewer every day, and it'll be easier, but it won't be easy. One day you're going to say, I got to let this go. And then it hurts.
I do this unsuccessfully since I was 14 years old. So this time I will succeed.
There you go. There you go. Touch the hem of his garments. Just trust. All right. We'll pray for you. What else? I heard something from the black screen. I don't know who that is.
I'm not sure.
I wonder if it's just a black screen. I wonder if it's nobody. It may just be you and I.
Down here it tells me that somebody's trying to connect video, but it doesn't say who.
No. Well, they should just connect audio and forget about that.
I'm over here, George.
Oh, it's Robert. That's the black screen. Well, good enough, Robert. We're glad you're here. Can we pray for you, Robert?
I will pray with that man there.
Yep. Well, I'm going to let you do that, Robert. Would you pray for Mike?
With him, as he said, he's been talking since he was 12 years old, Lord. It's time for him to leave those belongings and unto you as the master of the world. And do anything to help him leave those cigarettes alone. It's hard to lay them down and walk away from them because I know it can be done by anyone that wants to get rid of everything. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
You've been prayed for by an experienced prayer.
Yes, I have.
I love it. I love it. All right, I'm going to pray for all of you. We're going to end this. I think I've decided we're going to meet on Wednesdays, but I think COVID-19, no COVID-19, no pandemic, big pandemic, I'm going to keep doing this on Saturday nights because I got people in my class I never had before, and it'll free up for me a whole hour on Sunday morning, and I could use an hour on Sunday morning, man. So it might disappoint some, but I don't think it disappoint many. Most of the people who are in my class are coming online, so I may just keep doing this, and it suits me. So thinking about that, praying about that. We should use technology. We've got it. We should use it. So anyway, all right, let me pray for you. Father, we love you and we thank you so much for your power that's wielded sometimes when you don't even plan for it to be wielded, just by sheer faith of a human being who, lockstep with you, has found a solution. So God, we lift that to you and we ask you to bless. And I pray that you'd bless Mike and his family and Jenny as she struggles, and God, the whole situation there, and God, all the situations that we're in. And Lord, we ask you to bring about truth and justice and mighty, mighty righteousness. We ask it in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. How weird. Wednesday night was the biggest crowd I've ever had, and this is the smallest crowd I've had on Saturday night, but that's good. It's all fine. Somebody will watch this time delay. All right, I'm going to end the stream. Bye.